All right, everybody. Okay. Here we are. Welcome to the best or the worst guitar lesson you've ever had in your life. Um, this is going to be interesting, but I like interesting. All right, let me just get this all set up. Here we go. That's good. That's good. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Hopefully, everyone is feeling good. I wouldn't want you to not feel good. I'm just getting everything set up here. Welcome, those of you who are already in here, and those of you who are just joining. I'm Tarek, and today is going to be something very different. Today is going to be the first ever guitar lesson I've ever put on in my life. Oh, shout out from Leeds. Yeah, what's up, Leeds? How you doing? How are you doing? Yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing. Okay, so today we are going to be doing a guitar lesson for the song Grim, which last week when I did, I believe it was one of the live streams that I was doing, if not just a story shout out. But I posed a question of what song everyone would like to learn, and I think it was between Grim and Lay, and there was an overwhelming choice that it was Grim. So over the last week, I've tried to put on like a guitar teacher hat of some sort, and I wrote out the chords and the notes for it, which I do have for you guys on YouTube. It is there in the description, and if you can't see that yet, it definitely will be there. And yes, those who are asking if this is going to be saved, yes, it is going to be saved. You can always access this video on YouTube, and it'll always be up on, well, it might not always be up on Instagram, but for those of you who are with me on Instagram, it'll be on YouTube. Okay, so you just type in Grim Guitar Lesson and you can find it. A few things before we get started, though, is I just wanted to thank everybody for the overwhelming support that we've had on Careless. We released that song last Friday, and you guys have just been streaming the shit out of it, and posting all your comments. I know a lot of people sort of didn't really see a song like that coming, and I think that's just so exciting for both Justin and I because I feel like we always want to keep you guessing with what we're doing in the studio, with what we're doing live, and that's just one of the ways that we do it. And Careless was a song that we were just so excited about sharing because it was so different. Um, but we're very, very thankful and very happy with everyone's reception of the song when we did put it out. So thank you so much for that. As far as a performance, I will be uploading a Careless acoustic guitar performance tomorrow. So you can find that on YouTube, and you'll be able to find it on our IGTV channel as well for your listening and viewing pleasure. Okay, actually, I did upload a version of Magic acoustically that you can access on our IGTV. That you can check out. But it's just been a really fun way to occupy my time while being isolated in quarantine. Is just to take all those live energy songs or high energy songs rather and transpose them into like an acoustic version, right? So yes, thank you for Careless. The video for that will be up tomorrow. Um, and yeah, I guess we'll see what you think of that as well. Um, Grim. Okay. Let's talk. Oh, before I talk about Grim, there's Grim hoodies, by the way. We just released Grim hoodies. They're on our merch store, the Bluestones, myshopify.com. Just type in the Bluestones merch, you'll find it. We have brand new Grim hoodies. We actually have a brand new jacket for pre-order, which is pretty sweet. It's designed by both Justin and I, and it's up there for pre-order because we're not really sure what you guys think of it. But if you head over to our merch site, you can take a look at it for yourself and throw in a pre-order for that. So Grim was a pretty sweet song in my opinion. Definitely to play. I really enjoy playing that song live. It's just so much fun. There's just so much attitude and swagger that we throw into it. Just because at its heart, Grim is an attitude and swagger song. Um, so yeah, it's definitely one of our favorites to perform live. I mean, lyrically and content wise, it kind of follows this idea of being absolutely confident in who you are, demons and all, not really giving a shit what people think, and finally just kind of being enough of a badass and a villain to be able to take things for yourself. Because although it's good to be nice, epic drop pick, yeah, it was. I picked. It's good to be nice. It's also nice to be not so nice sometimes, and sometimes you just gotta look out for numero uno, And I think Grim is a song that is very much about that and being just confident in who you are. Um, as far as the music style, this is one of the first times where I really feel that the hip hop influence has come through. This type of music. Hip hop is something I've listened to since early high school. Jay Z, Kanye West, J Cole. For those of you who listen to the interviews, I always sort of shout out those artists. And I got my feet wet with hip hop early on, and it's just been part of the Bluestones DNA. It's been deep in there, but now that we've spent years and years and years and years and years developing us and developing ourselves as songwriters, I think that was an exciting thing to have come out in a song like this. So yeah, really like Grim. No, you cannot have the pick I dropped. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna teach it to you. So I did post the sheet music for those of you, like I said, in YouTube description. The sheet music is there. It's also in in our Instagram profile. If you just click the link, you can download the Grim sheet music for acoustic or really any guitar you're playing. But let's get started, shall we? Okay, we're just gonna start with the basics. We're gonna get the housekeeping done. All right, get it out of the way. Also, when I'm done this lesson, we'll have a nice little Q&A session. You guys can ask me whatever you like. A lot of people have been asking me, where is Justin? He is in a remote location, a very secret, remote, underground bunker location that I cannot disclose. But he has a really cool live video thing he's going to be whipping up pretty soon, which I'm excited about. I'm not even sure if he even knows that. But yes, he does. He does have something very cool coming. Okay, so Grim. It is spelled Grim, Grim, and it's not pronounced Grim, as some of you might think it is. I don't really know who would, but that's how you say it. Standard E tuning, all right, so just standard E, nothing fancy about it, no capo, no nothing. When I did write out the sheet music, I did have in mind that somebody would take it and hopefully make it even better. So I really, really encourage you, if you do have the sheet music and you know of any way that you want to improve it and then re-release it for all of you fantastic followers to download open source wise, go right ahead. I really encourage you to take it and make what I made even better. But let's get started, okay? So it's tough to transpose this song on acoustic because when I play this song live, I'm really just riding a few strings here, and I don't really bust out any chords or power chords until the chorus is later on in the song. But the first thing that I want to break down is the verse, okay? So what I'm doing here is just playing an open E string. Now what we're going to do is we start at the E when the song first starts after the little voice sample, which, fun fact, is our manager Eddie. Shout out to Eddie. When that is done, it starts with just a quick octave of the high E, right, at the 12th fret, to the open E string, okay? And it's just very, very quick. So, just like that, okay? And I just play that on one string. What follows that is actually a little bit tricky, okay? So the chord that follows that is actually an E minor 7. Now, normally you'd play it on this end of the fretboard on acoustic. You'd have just your index finger on the second string, which is our A string, on the second fret. That's the only string that you're holding down, and you're just strumming, okay? That's the very basic form of an E minor 7. But the way that I play it is I scoot all the way up to the 12th fret here, okay? And I play my E minor 7 up here in pentatonic style. So I've got my ring finger down on the 14th fret on our second string, our A string, and then I've got the index finger on the 12th fret on the third string, which is our D string, and I'm playing my E minor 7 up here. Okay, so you let that ride out. So it's just, right? And you're just gonna let that ride out, okay? So we got the octave E just on the open string and on the 12th fret. Just like that, okay? So, I've been dirty, I got clean. Here's where things get fun. Here's where you throw just a touch of sugar on the lick, okay? Because we're gonna do a couple of hammer-ons. Now, we're going to start over at the A, okay? But we're playing on our E string, right? So this is fret number 5 on our E string, our first string. And you're going to be doing a hammer-on here, okay? So you're going to be doing a 5-7 hammer-on the E string and on the second string down on the A string. And I'm just going to slow it right down, but in between each of the segments of the octave and the E minor 7, you're going to do a hammer-on the E string, A string, and it's going to be ba-da-da-da. That's it, okay? So, I've been dirty, I got clean. 2, 3. I seen things you never seen. So just to slow that down, we're doing right? So that's just a quick hammer on 5-7, 5-7, E and A string, okay? Now, when you want to get a little bit sexy with it, maybe just bust out a little bit more sugar, you can do the... But you don't have to bust out the sugar right away, okay? I mean, if you're just the beginner baker, you want to leave the sugar and just put as much as this recipe says. But if you feel like, you know what, I want to make this shit sweet, then, you know, you can start throwing other pentatonic notes in there, other blues notes, right? So just to go over the verse again, it's... So E at the 12, open E string. I've been dirty, I got clean, letting the E minor 7 ring out, and then we're doing our hammer-ons, right? 5-7, 5-7. I seen things you never seen. 2, 3, sugar. Right? There we go. Okay. So the thing that I recommend for people is if you're just learning how to play guitar, really, if you're just learning how to play any instrument, then slow down. You know, like you don't have to play a song and then try to play along with it at the same tempo. I mean, you want to really, really slow things down. Like it's okay to go half time. It's okay to go 2 times as slow as what the song is, just so you can nail down the part. I mean, I do it. Justin does it all the time. Right? Really take your time with it. And then once you get a little bit more confident with it, you go faster. Right. There we go. So that's the verse. I listed it as best as I could along with the lyrics. They might not be exactly to what I'm saying, but that is the pattern, right? So we got E on the 12, open E, E minor 7 up here near the 12th fret, right? And then we're also doing the hammer-ons on 5-7, 5-7 on E and A strings. So just like that. Just like that. So let's move on to chorus number 1. Now, this is what we call in the biz, the music biz, we call this a, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. A half chorus, that's what we call it, okay? So what we're gonna do for this part, and I'm looking at the sheet music here that I wrote down as well. We're gonna actually be playing the chords here, okay? So on acoustic, you can just ride the E minor chord, right? So E minor is way down here, we're talking 2nd fret. We got our 3rd finger on the A string, on the 2nd fret, and then we got our ring finger on the D string on the 2nd fret, right? And you're just... And there's the base of our choruses there, right? So... Am I dreaming or am I awake? That's what you're going to start with. Now, to anybody who is in a duo, who's a rhythm guitarist, or who just wants to know how I necessarily add a little bit of oomph, low end to when I'm playing live, there's tricks and there's hacks that I use, and one of them is actually pretty well explained in this part. So normally what I could do is I could just ride that open E string all day for that part, right? But what I'm actually doing live is I'm holding down my index finger on the 7th fret on the A string, okay? So on the 2nd string down on the 7th fret. And what do we have there? We have an E there, okay? So it's an octave to that open E string that I'm playing anyway. So by doing this, you know, we're still playing the note, but I'm kind of introducing just an octaved sound without having to use a pedal for it, right? So that's how I sort of beef up the sound when I'm playing it live. So I'm actually holding my E up here, the 7th fret on the 2nd string, the A string, and I'm just riding it that way, instead of just the open E string, right? just gives a little bit more volume to the note, but that's how I'm playing the E there. Now, if you just want to stick to the acoustic notes or the acoustic chords, by all means, E minor works too, right? That's the fun thing about these songs. There's just so many different ways to play them. What we do after that is we just do a double tap, like I like to call it, on the G, right? So if I'm up here, am I away? 'Cause it's just too good. So I'm just going to right down here, that's the 3rd fret on our E string, just hitting the G twice. Right? So let's just play that a little bit. Sugar. You don't have to add that in yet, but you can add the sugar in if you want. But again, we're going right from the E or the E minor, right? So I play it up here on the 2nd string, the 7th, in the open E, to the G twice. So, right? Okay, and that's this pattern of the first chorus is that. So, am I away? Was it just too good? Just too good. Then from right here, we're going right back into what we did in verse 1, right? So, and I never look back, throwing on fade to black, while I just fade to black, yeah. 24 hours in the city. So it's the same pattern as verse 1 there, right? The E in the 12th fret here on the 1st E string, open E string, and then our cool little E minor 7 that we're playing all the way up here on the 12th and the 14th frets, okay? And of course, our sugar in between each phrase, and that's verse 2. Now, this is where everything starts to get interesting, okay? When we move into chorus 2, we're going to go from a half chorus, and we're going to introduce the whole chorus. Now, before I start, there's 2 things I want to talk about here. The first thing I want to talk about is how I'm playing the chords. So typically, when you want to play some chords like E minor, you probably think of it right down here on the 2nd fret, G, right? C, I believe, yeah, is it? Yeah, C, right here. So what you're normally going to do is play it down here. Okay, but what I do is I play the power chords, right? Because, I mean, we're a fucking rock band, all right? So I'm playing the power chords when I'm playing this live. So I'm playing the G chord as a power chord, right, on the 3rd fret and the 5th fret in power chord formation here, just, right, rocking that out. And my C, also playing as a power chord. Instead of down here, I'm up here, right? So what fret am I at? I'm at the 8th, 9th, 10th frets, okay? And then the A, I'm playing on the 5th fret here, okay? Rather than playing an A here. So when I play Grimm, I play the power chords. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is the rhythm. Anthony, I wish I could be your dad, but I can't. It's the rhythm of the song, okay? So this is where it's interesting. I'm actually playing my notes on the offbeat, okay? So if we think about a 4/4 beat as just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the way that you're playing Grimm is so you're playing on the offbeat, which makes this a little bit tougher. So if I want to slow that down, which, you know, we want to slow everything down just so that we can do it right, we're doing right. So I'm playing those notes on the offbeat, and that's what makes the strumming of this song a little bit different. Okay, it's not necessarily just on the 4 beat, it's actually on the off. Wow, I can really go off on tangents. Anyway, what was I saying? I was going to teach you how to play the chorus. Okay, so just like the first chorus, okay, we're going to be playing the E to start. So, am I dreaming or am I awake? 'Cause it's just too good, right? Just too good. E to the G. Am I dreaming or am I awake? 'Cause it's just too good. Just too good. Here's where it gets different, right? So we're hitting the G twice, bam, going up to a C. So a C is on the 8th fret, 1st string, right? E string. Broken bones and bloodlines. I'm on the move. So we're going from the G, 1, 2, C, and going down to an A. Okay, and that's on the 5th fret on the E string, your 1st string there, okay? And back home to the E. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do the G double in between each of those notes, which I'll be completely honest with you, I do that from time to time when I play it live, and there's really no saying when or when I don't do it. But if you want to keep it absolutely basic, we're just going from the G. So broken bones and bloodlines, A. Oh yeah, I'm on the road. And everybody knows about it. C. And I'm fine. A. And then back to the E minor. So now we're on the pre-verse to verse 3, and really verse 3 is really about the end of it, but the pre-verse is actually not really played on the guitar. This is where Justin kicks in with a nice low-end 808 E that he plays on a drum pad. He does a boom, 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 and I'm just basically screaming and shouting into the microphone at that point. But that's not really played on the guitar, but if you want to know how to play it on the guitar, it's just an open E to the E octave on the 12. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all that is. Just playing with E octaves in this song. Okay. Now, this is verse 3. This is where it gets a little bit complicated just because of the vocal cadence. In addition to what I'm playing. So again, if we're trying to remember our rhythm here, okay, we're playing on the offbeats, right? And that's really important for verse 3 to get into that little groove. 3, 4, sugar. Sugar when you want to make cookies, right? So we're playing that offbeat, we're playing that rhythm throughout the entirety of verse 3. So it starts, the easy part about verse 3 is really you're just riding a string. You're just riding the E string here. You're not really using anything else. So we're just going to ride the open E. Wake up, is he going to make out? How's he been doing? When he going to snap out? When he going to wake up? So again, E to G. Just like we did in the choruses, E to G. And it's actually going to be the same chord progression as the chorus is here. So, shit, yeah, I'm gonna make it. C. Give it 5 years, fuel. That's an A. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. E. Do you want better? Leave you begging for a way out. Yeah, I heard you want me back. You think about me often. Don't like it, well, that's a you problem. And if you need my help, I'll tell you how you're gonna solve it. So we're just doing the E to the C, to the A, G, G, E. And there's your verse 3 right there. So if I'm going to start that nice and slow, we're going to do E. Shit, yeah, I'm going to make it. There's a C. Down to the A. Get the fuck out. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'll tell you how it play out. Do you want better? Leave you begging for a way out. Yeah, I heard you want me back. That's a C to an A. Perfect. Okay. So that's verse 3. That is the pattern. We're just going from an open E in that rhythm that we discussed, okay, all the way up to the C, which is fret number 8 on your E string, your 1st string, and then down to the A, which is fret number 5 on the E string, okay, on your 1st string. And then you're just double tapping that G again. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, this kind of verse is when you start to throw a little bit of sugar in there, okay, just like we discussed about the sugar. You take it out of the cupboard, just put it on the countertop, and just look at it. And if you feel like you want to add some sugar, just take a pinch and throw it on there, okay? So, there's a lot of things that you can do with this verse. You can play it just chord-wise. If you want to just stick to the chords, you can do that. E minor, right? And then we go to the C. Oh, this is kind kind of interesting. E minor, right? And then C to an A major. Wow. Okay, there's verse 3. Now, where do we go? We go right back into our chorus. And to be honest, it's the same progression through the rest of the song, okay? So just like we did in the earlier choruses, we start with that E. Am I dreaming or am I awake? Is it just too good? Double tap the G. Just too good. Up to the C. Am I dreaming? A. Wait, is it just too good? Just too good. Again, up to the C. Broken bones and bloodline. Oh, I'm on the road. Sugar, everybody knows about it. Yeah, it's grim when I find that someone, yeah, I'm on the road. E minor. All right, then that's how you end the song, right? End it on a nice E major 7 and let that ring out, and then you let Justin come in with his cool little drum beats. Now, the outro is actually quite simple as well. Again, we're just playing around with that open E string to the fret, the 12th fret E, so the octave, and just kind of playing around with that. And really, the outro is where you add all the sugar possible. You just take that bag of sugar, whatever the bowl is that you are using to make your cookies, you just throw all the sugar in there for the outro. So, I mean, typically, starts very simple. So, open E string, just ride that heavy distortion. I usually throw on an octaver. I throw on heavy distortion. For those of you who are pedal heads, I'm using a ZVEX Box of Rock, a double rock. Okay, so I kick that thing on. I use a pitchfork octaver, okay, just to really give it some more low-end oomph when I play that section. And then I just have like a blues driver, a standard Boss blues driver, give it even a little bit more oomph there. And I'm just riding that E, and I'm getting literally livid on stage. I'm getting upset, and you really need to feel that shit when you're performing it. And you're just going from that open E to the G. That's our outro right there. Yeah. Just like that. And then you add some sugar here. What I do is I usually do a hammer-on of, again, just our E string. I'm going 10, 12, G, which is the 3, and then open E. So I'm doing... So 10, 12, 10, 12. Then let that shit ring out. Do this. If you don't care about your guitar, break it. I don't know. Do whatever you want at the end of the song there. I mean, usually every time I play that song live, it's just like I get supercharged with, I don't know, energy. I don't even know what it is. That's grim, okay? Yeah, it's grim. And I'm fine. That's it. That's the song. That's how you perform the song. If anybody needs clarification, you can always watch this video again where I break it down verse by verse, chorus by chorus. Again, I do have the sheet music in the YouTube description, so you can download it and you can keep it. And like I said earlier, I encourage you, take it, make it better, put it back out there into the world. If there's actually any guitar teachers that are watching this live stream, number one, I apologize for that. And number two, download it and make it better if you can, if you like. It's available on our Instagram profile as well, for your download and for your learning pleasure. And another thing that I will say right now, and god damn it, do I mean it, if you know how to play any of our songs and if you feel like performing it and posting a video on Instagram, make sure you tag us, okay? Because we like to repost that stuff. There's been some amazing performers. Yavi Patone is one that we've seen do a lot of covers of our songs, and he does it amazingly. So anytime that you feel like you want to post a cover of our songs, tag us. I watch that stuff. I know Justin watches it too. But it's fun. It's fun to see what you guys come up with and how you change the songs in your own cool little ways. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say something on chat here on YouTube. Hi, everyone. Okay. And I'm also going to open up some questions and some answers. So if you guys have any questions, whether it's to do with the lesson I just put, the clinic, the sugar clinic that I just put on, or if it's, oh, it doesn't look like I can connect to the chat. That's unfortunate. But I can still see what you guys are commenting. Okay, so if you guys have any questions for me, I would love to answer them right now. I believe you can just ask your questions on Instagram Live, and they will come up as question tabs that I can use. And on YouTube, I'm just watching the chat. I'm just watching the chat here. Let's see. This is, oh, okay. So this is actually from Give You the Night on YouTube. He says that he or she, I'm not really sure, you can play the E minor 7 on 9 and 7 or D and G if that's easier for the slide from the 5-7-5-7 on E and A part. And you're absolutely right, you can. Um, a lot of times when I choose to play something on my guitar in a certain way, sometimes it looks like it's the more complicated way because it more than likely is the more complicated way. But the challenge of being just like a rhythm guitarist up there and kind of holding down the melody and just having my guitar basically put on, you know, the music that you're the I guess the melody that you're following along to is you want to add and fill as much as you can. And sometimes I like the idea of the sound of a slide, right? So the sound of my fingers sliding up the guitar adds to the song just as much as playing a note would, in my opinion, because it's now like a percussion element. It's almost like a sample or like a drum or something that just isn't music that is now adding to the music. Or sorry, isn't notes that are adding to the music. So sometimes I play it on purpose in a more difficult way because it has cool sounds to it when I perform it live. But Give You the Night, you're absolutely right. You can play it that way. Let me go to the Instagram. Uh, Let's see. I'm gonna see. Did I just say let me go to the Instagram? Oh my god, I sound like my dad. Okay, will you ever do a show in California? Yes, we have actually. We've done a few. We've played Oakland, and we've played Los Angeles at the Moroccan Lounge, and that was during the Be My Fire tour last year. So I'm sorry, oh Barry, I'm sorry you must have missed it, or you're just kind of a newcomer to the Blue Sounds, which hey, it's fine too. You know, that's fine. Cali, obviously, we love Cali, so we'll definitely be back there at some point. Absolutely. Um, let's see what else. What comes first? This is from Jenny Jinx on Instagram. What comes first, the lyrics or the melody? That's a great question. We get asked that a lot, actually. Normally, when I'm writing the songs, it'll start from a melody. I think I'm a melody based person, melody based songwriter. So, yes, it starts from a good melody, maybe a riff that I'm messing around with, or even something that I heard in a song that I really, really like. You know, something where I'm like, oh, I really kind of like that riff. I want to see if I can sort of alter that or change it in a way. And then the lyrics will just build on after that, right? So, but that's not to say that every song is written that way because, for example, Be My Fire was written lyrics first. Um, so it really does depend on what song it is. More often than not, yes, it is a good melody that will lead the songwriting. Now let's go to Instagram again. Here we go. So Steven, hi. How do y'all manage to make just a guitar and a drum sound so huge and full? Well, there's a couple things at play here. So I mean, Justin and I have been playing together for years and years and years, you know, and we started off as a duo. And I remember saying, you know, yeah, we'll just figure out the extra band members later. And then we never did. But we've been playing together for a very, very long time. We've been only playing just us two for a very, very long time. So just naturally, when you're playing off of one another, you just develop your own unique sound, just being that two piece right then and there. There are little tricks and hacks that I use to sort of fill out the sound. The strings that I play with on my Les Paul are very, very thick. Um, so they're not very, very thick, but they're the medium top, heavy bottoms by D'Addario. So I do focus more on making everything thick that I play with. So you know, my Les Paul is American made. It's nice and heavy. That adds to the sound as well. I'm playing out of a nice beefy amp with a closed back cab, and that just adds to that low end oomph. And I actually bias the equalization, and I'm really sorry to get all techie with y'all, but I balance it so that the lows and the highs are a little bit higher. So at about, if you're looking at a clock face, we're talking 1 o'clock each, and the mids are lower just to cut down on the muddiness, but that adds to the oomph of the low end coming out of the amp. And then my pedals are pretty, you know, they're pretty thick and heavy. So that's how we make all that sound. I hope that kind of answers your question there. This is from Holly. Do you favor Gibson over Fender? This is over on Instagram. Oh gosh. You know, no, but also yeah. I've always played with Gibsons, and I just feel like it just feels like home to me playing on a Gibson. So yeah, I just feel like that just feels a little bit more comfortable for me, for sure. So I guess I do favor Gibson over Fender. I'm gonna go over to YouTube real quick. I think I'm having just a little bit of an issue getting the chat restarted here, but I'm gonna see if there's any questions that I might have missed out on here on YouTube. When is the next album? That's by Piro. Well, I mean, I wish I could tell you guys an exact date. We don't really have an exact date. It is, still in the works. Well, it's still in the works as far as choosing what the schedule is going to be for this release. We are aiming for the summer, but things can change, especially with everything that's going on. So, yeah, I wish I could give you a hard date, but I cannot. Hopefully this summer though. That's when we're really looking to put this out. What else do we have here? Oh, there was something I wanted to touch on, which is about our shows that were upcoming in June. So, as far as we know right now, they're postponed indefinitely, and that includes our own headline shows that we had in June, but also includes the shows that we were going to put on with the Struts, or that we were going to open for the Struts for. So, those are just postponed indefinitely right now. I mean, just the way things are going right now, and it's understandable. But I don't think there's going to be very many shows going on throughout June as well. And again, just to touch on that, I hope you guys are all doing great and staying healthy and staying at home. Um, really hope that's not going so sort of pull your hair out for you. Okay, let's go back here. Yeah, for some reason I can't connect to the live chat on YouTube, which is a bummer. But what I'll do is I will just hop over to Instagram real quick. Let's see here. Okay, here's. Oh no, I think I already answered a question. But I'm sorry. I gotta put you back. There we go. Let's go back to the questions here. Okay, here we go. This is a good question. Adam, how do you see your sound progressing over time? That's really interesting, Um, I don't necessarily think that it, I guess it does progress. Our sound will naturally progress. But I think more and more, I just feel like whatever we're inspired by, what, I'm listening to at the time, bands that I tour with, or bands that I'm listening to, or artists that I'm listening to, that's what really really inspires me, and influences me, and that changes over time. I'm a different music listener now than I was in 2012, 2013, when Black Holes was being written, right? So naturally the sound is going to progress based on what your external influences are. But at the end of the day, I'm still Tarek, and Justin is still Justin, and you're still going to get a similar sound, right? You're still going to get that Bluestone sound because it's us that are, that's behind the instruments, right? So I think dependent on what I'm being influenced by from external sounds or external music is how our sound would progress. Let's see here. Okay, what is your favorite song to play live? I can tell you right now, without a doubt, it's Grim. Grim is just so much fun to perform live. Everybody gets into it, and like I say in all the live streams, when you guys are excited at a show and when we're feeding off the vibe of the audience, that's when we have good shows. That's when we play really, really, really well. Um, so yeah, Grim is definitely my current favorite song to play live for sure. Let me scroll through the comments here. I'll just do a couple more questions, and then oh wow, my dad is in this chat. This is weird. Okay, um, let me just go through here. What current rock artist do you like the most? Wow, rock is such a cool genre right now. Honestly, it is such a cool genre. It is, I think, the most innovative genre right now because nobody in modern rock is sticking to a lane right now. Um, well, sticking to that sort of four on the floor classic rock and roll sort of lane, they're adding in all these really really cool elements and borrowing from different genres and types of music and funneling that through what rock and roll is. I would say some of my favorites right now. I got to give a shout out to the Glorious Sons. I mean, those are guys that we know very well, and we've been on this journey together, and they're just absolutely awesome dudes. I'd say Glorious Sons are up there. Catfish and the Bottlemen, I think some of you might know, is a huge band that I really, really love. Foles. Foles is alt rock band that we just absolutely adore. And Nothing But Thieves is another good one. So there's a couple of them for you. It's a lot more. Mo Louder and the Humble, a little bit more on the alt rock side. But if you guys haven't checked them out, definitely go check them out. They're a fantastic band. There's so many more I mean, Grandson. There's so many more. There's a duo also out of Ontario called Cleopatra. I would definitely suggest you guys check them out if you don't know who they are. There's just so many cool rock bands right now, you know. And Royal Blood, yes, that's the bear. Yes, Royal Blood for sure. Let me go and we'll do one more question here on Instagram. I am sorry for YouTubers. I don't know what's going on with the live chat. I wish I could get to your questions, but unfortunately I can't. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. I want to pick a nice one. I want to pick a nice one to finish off this session with. Here we go. Okay. So this is Clown School graduate. First of all, you know, congrats on graduating Clown School. I heard it's an insanely difficult program. You know, you made it out alive, and I really, really, you know, we need clowns right now. I think clowns are an important, essential, you know, member of the employment force that we need right now. So congratulations on graduating Clown School. Now, do you have any tips for newer players and staying motivated? Yes, my biggest tip is you are gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it, and that's okay. You know, it's tough to learn an instrument, especially later on in your life when your brain isn't as moldable. And it can be really disheartening at times. Like you might not be able to put your fingers right on a guitar fret, you know, or you might just have a hard time sort of playing with both hands on a piano, or you might have a hard time getting your limbs to do different things when you're playing on the drums. And everybody goes through that when they're learning an instrument. You know, you have to understand that like you're not the only one that has a tough time learning an instrument. Everybody has a tough time learning an instrument, more so when you're an adult. So that would be my tip for staying motivated. Know that everybody goes through the shittiness, but it's the ones who come out of the shittiness that end up learning an instrument and that really thank themselves for sticking through it. So if that's a piece of advice for you, then there you go. Otherwise, I would say just start by learning songs that you like. You know, start by maybe there's a college song that you really, really like and you want to learn how to play that on an acoustic guitar. A lot of them are a lot simpler than you think they are, and they use a lot of the same root chords and notes. So I would just start with songs that you really like. Okay, y'all, that was it. Live stream number 2, done. I hope you enjoyed learning how to play Grimm. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about random things. Again, Clown School graduate, so happy for you. YouTube, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with the chat. I wish I could have got to your questions, but regardless, this video will be posted on YouTube, and I'll definitely have in the description a link where you can download the sheet music for yourself, and you can use it to play, and you can also use it to make it better and re-release it for everybody. And please, if you do, just put up a download link for free somewhere for that sheet music if you make it better. I really appreciate that. Head over to our merch store. We got some real cool stuff there. Brand new hoodie, brand new jacket, and we also got some really cool stuff coming up as well. Thank you all for joining me. Have a fantastic night, and go play Grimm super loud.